Welcome to Lorn Sleepy, where gentle stories help you drift into peace. In this 6-part calm storytelling journey, follow the wind as it visits peaceful friends. Talla the quiet tree, Nilo the sleepy fox, Oro the thoughtful owl, Melo the gentle turtle, and Aya the dreaming deer. Each story teaches mindfulness, stillness, and the beauty of simply being. Perfect for bedtime, meditation, relaxation, or peaceful background listening. Find your quiet. Breathe softly. Let go. This is the wind's journey. Crescent Moon Calm Storytelling. Episode 1. The Gentle Wind and the Quiet Tree. Once upon a time, in a peaceful valley where the clouds moved slowly and the rivers whispered gently, there lived a quiet old tree named Talla. Talla stood alone on a soft green hill, with her roots deep in the earth and her branches stretched wide toward the sky. Every day, the wind would visit Talla. It never rushed. It came with a soft hum, like a lullaby sung by the earth itself. "Hello again, Talla," the wind would whisper, and Talla, slow and still, would rustle her leaves in reply. She didn't speak with words, but she always listened, and the wind loved that about her. One day, the wind seemed a little sad. Talla's leaves shimmered gently. She was listening closely. "I have flown far," said the wind, "over busy towns, noisy roads, and people who forget to breathe slowly." Talla stood silently. Her bark was warm from the sun. "Why don't they rest, Talla?" the wind asked. "Why don't they sit under trees like yours and listen to the quiet?" Talla didn't speak, but she let the wind move through her branches, as if saying, "It's okay. You're safe here." And just like that, the wind began to feel calmer. It rested around Talla, weaving through her roots, humming to the grass, and slowly softening its breath. Together, the wind and the tree stayed still. The stars peeked out in the sky, one by one, gently blinking awake. The valley, the tree, the wind, everything became quiet. And if you listened closely, you could almost hear Talla saying, "The world may be busy, but peace is always waiting, just under the leaves." Crescent Moon Calm Storytelling. Episode 2: The Sleepy Fox and the Pebble Path. The wind, feeling rested from its visit with the quiet tree Talla, drifted gently down the hill and into a soft forest where tall ferns swayed and the earth smelled of moss. There, curled beside a winding pebble path, lay a small, sleepy fox named Nilo. Nilo had a soft, fluffy tail and eyes that blinked slowly, as though every blink was part of a dream. The wind brushed Nilo's fur, gently waking him. "Oh," murmured Nilo, stretching one paw. "Is it morning already?" "No," said the wind softly. "It's the quiet time, the time between wakefulness and dreams." Nilo yawned and looked around. "I was walking the pebble path," he said, "but I forgot where I was going. So I stopped here and listened." The wind circled the pebbles gently. "You don't need to know where you're going all the time," it whispered. "Sometimes stopping is part of the journey." Nilo nodded slowly. "I like the sound of the pebbles under my paws," he said. "Crunch, crunch, soft, soft." Then I found this mossy spot, and I sat down. The world was so quiet, I think I fell asleep. "That's a good kind of sleep," said the wind. "A peaceful one. The kind that finds you when your heart is calm." Nilo closed his eyes again. "I think I'll keep walking the path later, but right now, I'll just listen to the quiet." The wind curled gently around him, warm and kind, carrying the hush of the forest and the slow rhythm of a peaceful world. And as Nilo drifted back into a dream, the pebbles whispered under him, "You are exactly where you need to be." Crescent Moon Calm Storytelling. Episode 3: The Thoughtful Owl and the Moon Pond. Not far from the pebble path where Nilo the sleepy fox rested, the wind glided slowly through the trees, humming a quiet tune. It drifted up a little hill, over mossy rocks, and into a clearing bathed in soft moonlight. In the center of the clearing was a small, round pond. The water was still, like a mirror, reflecting the moon above. Perched on a low tree branch near the pond sat an old, thoughtful owl named Oro. Oro did not flap or fidget. He sat with still wings and round eyes, gazing into the moon pond. The wind arrived quietly, settling beside him. "Hello again," said the wind. Oro blinked slowly. "Hello, friend," the wind whispered. "What do you see in the water tonight?" Oro looked down into the pond, where the moon floated like a glowing pebble. "I see time," said the owl. "Moments, memories, and dreams, all drifting gently like leaves on the surface." The wind circled the pond gently, ruffling a few feathers on Oro's wings. "Do you ever feel lost in all that time?" the wind asked. Oro turned his head, slow and calm. "No," he said, "because I don't try to hold it. I just watch it pass, and I learn from it." The wind rested for a moment. "That's wise," it whispered. Oro gave a small hoot, not loud, just a soft sound that barely disturbed the silence. "Peace isn't in chasing," he said. "It's in watching, in being still, like the pond." And indeed, the pond did not move. The moon stayed, silent and whole, as if it too was listening. Far away, Nilo the fox dreamed under a fern, and even farther, Talla the quiet tree still stood on her hill, humming in her sleep. Everything in the forest was still. Everything was calm, and the owl, with eyes like ancient lanterns, said one last thing before the wind moved on. "The quiet teaches more than noise ever could." Crescent Moon Calm Storytelling, Episode 4, The Gentle Turtle and the Morning Light. As the stars slowly faded and the edge of the sky began to glow with the first light of morning, the wind traveled on. It drifted low through the tall grasses, its breath cool and comforting. Birds had not yet begun their songs. The world was still half asleep. In a patch of dewy clover, moving slowly, so slowly, you might miss him if you blinked, was a gentle turtle named Melo. Melo's shell was smooth and round like a river stone, and his eyes blinked with deep calm. The wind brushed through the clover and greeted him with a whisper. "Good morning, Melo." Melo didn't hurry to reply. He finished his small step first, placed his foot softly on the earth, and then said in a warm voice, "Good morning, friend wind." The wind circled him playfully. "Where are you going?" it asked. Melo looked up at the sky, where a hint of sunlight was gently blooming. "I'm walking toward the light," he said. "Is it far?" the wind asked. "I don't know," Melo replied. "I don't mind if it is." The wind swirled a little more. "Most creatures rush when the sun rises," it said. "They flap and run and hurry to begin their day." Melo smiled slowly. "I begin my day by feeling it," he said. "One step, one breath, one patch of clover at a time." The wind grew quiet. "That sounds peaceful." "It is," said Melo. "When I walk slowly, I notice everything. The shape of a leaf, the sound of silence, the way light changes as it touches the ground." Melo stopped and turned his head toward the sunrise. The wind paused too, and they both watched as golden light spilled softly over the hills. For a while, no one spoke. There were no thoughts to chase, no plans to make. Just stillness, just breath. Then Melo said gently, "I may be slow, but I arrive with peace, and that is fast enough." Crescent Moon Calm Storytelling, Episode 5, The Dreaming Deer and the Whispering Grass. After parting gently from Melo the turtle, the wind wandered deeper into the forest, where morning had fully arrived. The golden light warmed the treetops, and the shadows stretched softly across the ground. In a meadow where the grass swayed like waves on a still sea, the wind found a young deer named Aya. Aya lay curled in the tall grass, eyes half closed, ears twitching gently. She was not asleep, and she was not awake. She was dreaming while awake, a quiet kind of dream. The wind approached slowly, brushing the tips of the grass with careful steps. "Hello, Aya," whispered the wind. Aya opened her eyes just a little and smiled. "Hello, wind. What are you dreaming?" the wind asked. Aya breathed deeply, her nose lifting into the breeze. "I'm dreaming of places I haven't seen, mountains with clouds wrapped around them, rivers that sing as they run, skies so big they make your heart feel small." The wind blew softly across her back, comforting. "Do you wish to go there?" it asked. Aya blinked slowly. "Maybe one day," she said. "But for now, dreaming is enough. I'm not in a hurry to leave this quiet place." The grass swayed around her, whispering with the wind. It seemed to say, "You're already where peace lives." Aya stretched her legs, then rested again, her head nestled into the soft earth. "I think," she said, "that dreaming gently while you're awake is a kind of magic." The wind nodded without words. "And when you listen to the grass, really listen," Aya added. "It tells stories that no one else hears." The wind paused, then let itself settle low around her. The grass whispered lullabies, and Aya, still awake, still dreaming, whispered one last thing. "Peace is not a place you find. It's the place you create by being still and kind and quiet inside." Crescent Moon Calm Storytelling, Episode 6, The Circle of Peace. The wind, now full of stories from the tree, the fox, the owl, the turtle, and the dreaming deer, floated upward into the sky. It felt quiet inside, full but light, like a leaf floating on still water. It looked down on the forest, the hill, the pebble path, the pond, the meadow, all the friends it had met, all the gentle moments shared. The wind whispered softly to itself, "I have wandered far, but I always return to peace." And so, the wind circled back. One by one, it visited its friends again. Herb first, it returned to Talla, the quiet tree on the hill. Her leaves danced as if they had been waiting. "I'm still here," she seemed to say. Crescent Moon then to Nilo, the sleepy fox, who stirred in his dreams and smiled. The wind brushed his ear like a lullaby. Owl to Oro, the wise owl, who watched the pond and nodded slowly. "Stillness remains," he hooted gently. Turtle to Melo, the gentle turtle, who was still walking, step by step. He smiled and said, "You found your way back." Dear, and finally to Aya, the dreaming deer, who whispered without opening her eyes, "I knew you would return." The wind curled in the air above them all. No longer just a traveler, but a thread that connected gentle hearts. Together in silence, they shared something simple and beautiful: stillness, breath, presence, peace. And in the soft light of a new dusk, the wind whispered one last message to the forest. The world may be wide and restless, but there is always a place where peace lives. And sometimes that place is simply where you are now.